Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and to a brand new reading vlog. So if you had watched my last week's reading vlog, which I will link up here, I read Fair Rosalind by Natasha Solomons and it was kind of disappointing for me, but I had such high hopes that I feel like really let down. Like, I am lacking, I'm wanting more. So we are starting off this week's reading vlog by picking up Foul Lady Fortune by Chloe Gong. Anybody who's interested in reading this, I think you need to read these Violent Delights duology first. I have read them. That has been like the general consensus that I've seen on BookTube, I guess. This is following Rosalind Lang. My assumption would be that that is the same Rosalind, Juliet's cousin. I know that I should know her from these Violent Delights, and I do have like an inkling. But it's been like so long since I read them, maybe close to a year since I read those books, so I really don't remember. I'm going to be completely honest with you. It took me so long to get a copy of this, and then when I had a copy, I didn't really fancy fantasy. And now that we're like ending summer and the weather's rubbish in the UK, like where has our summer been? Because I ain't seen the sun since June. For me, autumn, it just unlocks me. I no longer want to read romance. I want to read the witchy books, the fantasy books, the horror and mythology and all those books, which is really bad news for my very oversized romance TBR. I might have to try and fit in like a couple more romance books before the end of like summer officially turns, because I have so many. But yeah, I'm going to start by reading this one. It is a chunky 500-page book. But I'm excited to get a really large book off my TBR because I only just picked up Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong, which is her first adult fantasy. And I feel like I have to read this before I can read this, considering this one's been on my TBR for longer and is an extension of a series I read already. So I want to read that so that I can read this because I'm so excited. I think I'm going to sit outside and do a bit of reading outside with a coffee. Ooh, that sounds nice. After complaining that there's really bad weather. There is really bad weather. It's even picking to rain. But you ain't gonna stop me using my new sofa set. I'm here to give a super quick update to say that I've actually just decided to just sit and read a lot today. And so far I'm at 293. So I'm about halfway, which is wild. I'm over halfway. I'm really enjoying this so far. I think it's really, really well done. I like all the characters. I get a little bit confused sometimes with the plot. Like, there are occasions I feel like maybe we haven't had the answers to them yet of what the heck is meant to be happening and what's going on and why Rosalind is doing what she's supposed to be doing. So like there is confusion there, but I'm really enjoying the story and I'm really enjoying the pacing and all that stuff. So yeah, I'm having a good time. I just finished Foul Lady Fortune. What a roller coaster. To be honest, so much happened at the end that I'm kind of like overwhelmed and don't really know what I've read. Like, that was a lot to read. The end line of that epilogue, oofed. That was good. I like that a lot. Very excited for the next book of this. There's a bind up of 2 novellas that I know is already out, so I'm going to read that. But I'm pretty sure the next book of this comes out in September, which is next month. So I'm going to double check that and find out. But I'm so excited to read more in this because I'm really invested. If you like the Jade series, Jade Legacy, Jade War, those books, I think you'd really like this. They hold a very similar... Yeah, they hold very similar vibes in terms of investigating and... So in Jade War, they've got, like, Jade, but in this, there's something else that I can't really say anything on. But, like, they're both investigating the same thing. It's very similar in that regard. And I feel like the way this was told was very similar, which I really liked, because I really liked Jade War. Jade Legacy. Jade City, that's the first one. I really like Jade City. But yeah, this was so good. And I cannot believe I read all of this in one day. I had quite a few things to do today that I have not done as a result. It is now like 7 o'clock and I have to rush through all these things that I didn't do because I was too invested in this book. I would never have guessed I'd read this all today. I'm so shocked. But I'm pleased about it because now I'm ready for the release of the next one. And I can finally start Immortal Longings. I really enjoyed this. 100% recommend if you haven't read it already. It's so good. The lighting is a shambles. Let's fix this. Hang on. That's better. I decided I wanted a change of pace. After I've had like quite a lot of heavy reads in a row, like tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. Fair Rosalind, Foul Lady Fortune. Like, I feel like all I've done is read really heavy books. Just needed a light read to get me through. Have a little palette cleanser. So today I've spent the day reading a couple of novellas that I won't bother talking to you about. As always on this channel, you can find all of my reviews on Goodreads. I never really talk about novellas unless they blow me away and I feel I have to. None of those were the case today. But I did want to talk to you about a book called It is Jinxed by Torri Heat. I saw this one on TikTok and it basically follows a house that has been cursed. It is a beautiful manor. She goes to this house, she's looking for a fresh start. She buys this house that is crumbling and is at a really cheap rate, but she never goes inside because it's on bank foreclosure. So then she moves in and she suddenly goes inside and the door closes after her and suddenly it jams her in. So she's trying to open all the doors and windows and cannot. Then she goes to smash a window and a man stops her. She screams, obviously, because there is a man in her house. Just to find out that there are 3 men in this house and they are all stuck there, including her, because the house was cursed. It's a why choose romance, but it's also about like trying to find a way to break this curse. Deals with a lot of like depression and grief and addiction. There's a lot of discussions on things like that, which I really enjoyed. I think the story was very fascinating. I think the descriptions were great. I had a really good time with this. I think it dragged on a little bit too much and I would have loved some more discussions on certain things like addiction, but I really enjoyed it for what it was. It was quite a short, fast-paced read. I have no idea how many pages it actually was, but it didn't take me long at all. It has got a bit of steam in it. Well, quite a bit of steam, but that's not the main plot of the story. There is a plot to it. It's not one of those steamy, no-plot romances. It's more of a plot-driven book with a bit of romance in it. So, or a bit of steam in it, I should say. It's definitely romance-heavy, but a little bit of steam. And I really enjoyed it. I had a really good time with it. I think it was very unique compared to the ones I've read before. And I really enjoyed the author's writing style, and I'd be 100% encouraged to pick up more from them. If you are looking for a Kindle Unlimited read that is a little bit spicy but has some plot, has a good premise, I would definitely recommend that one. I'm really glad I saw it on TikTok. According to Goodreads, it does not have a lot of reviews, so I'm quite surprised. So I would definitely encourage you guys to pick it up if you had not heard of it before. As I said, I have spent the day I worked up until about 6 p.m. and then I've spent since 6 p.m. reading some novellas and reading that book. So I feel definitely refreshed to maybe start Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong. This is why I read Foul Lady Fortune, was because I really wanted to read this. But I'm also like, if you could see, I mean, I could show you, but I'm not going to because I'm too embarrassed. If you could see my romance TBR right now, you'd be embarrassed for me. The summer is where I read my romances and I'm already out of my summer mood and I've been left with a whole shelf of romances. A whole shelf of romances. So I either will pick this up or I will pick up a romance. But I really want to pick this up. I'm also really in the mood for Such Sharp Teeth. But I'm like, this is a horror that you can wait to read in a month or in a couple of weeks at least. Focus on your romance. But it's not happening. I've not spoken to you since Wednesday, I'm pretty sure. No. Tuesday. It is now Saturday. Me and my littlest sister came to stay with me from Wednesday night till yesterday. And then I took her home yesterday and I was at my family's house till really late. So I haven't done any reading since Wednesday, but I did finish a book that I need to update you on. That's why I haven't been here and I'm really sorry. But I do want to update you on the book I finished on Wednesday, which was, what the hell is that book called? Ash and Blood? A Soul of Ash and Blood? A Soul of Ash and Blood. That sounds about right. These titles are getting a bit much now. Okay, so I gave this book a 3 stars. I think it's fine as a book. Like, it was an entertaining read. I love the series. I love the characters. I don't read the synopses to my sequels at all, really. I really like to just, if I know I already like the series, I just continue the series. So I didn't know that this was just going to be a retelling of the first book, but from the character that we saw in the first book's POV. I think I've already talked about this. But that's all it is. It's just a retelling and then one tiny added piece of information at the end that was about 2 sentences long, and you'll I don't know if it'll come back in the future and be needed to know, but you literally did not need that at all. I feel like it was a cool concept to see things from his point of view. I really enjoyed his POV, and I hope that in the future the books are dual POV instead of just from the POV of Poppy. Saying that, this 100% could have been a novella, and we did not need a full 600 odd paged book on his POV of the events that happened, because we read them. We've been there. And we've been there years ago. So, like, I remember the events very well, but I don't need to know his point of view to those events. Because unless you're someone who binges really long series, nobody who goes into this series is going to read it quick enough to get to the 5th book and care about this man's point of view back then. That definitely wasn't my favourite read, but it wasn't bad. That's why I gave it a 3. Like, it certainly wasn't bad. I was entertained. I loved this series, and I loved reading his POV. But almost 700 pages is the most extortionate thing on planet Earth. Like, why did I have to read that when I've already read it? And I'm going to be completely honest with you. It's been so long since I've read the first book. What, 2 years maybe? 2 years plus? I don't know. I don't care. I don't care what he was thinking. I truly don't. And I don't remember in what situations I hated him to think, well, what was he thinking in that situation? That should have been a book 2 kind of thing. Or a book 1.5. Not the 5th book. And it's not like you can read the book in order. Like, you can't, like, go book 1, book 5, and read them back to back. Because the beginning and the end, the last, like, 3-4 pages are consecutive with the 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can't even do that. And I don't see anyone particularly rereading this. If they ever reread the series, me specifically, I will not be rereading book 5. Because why would I? It's the same book as book 1. I'm not really a big fan of POV retelling changes. It's why I have not read The Awakening as Told by the Boys from Zodiac Academia, even though I own it. As for what I have read since, I have read half a chapter of Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates. I've been in the middle of this book for months. I got an arc of it and I was trying to read it before it released. And so I read half a chapter, because I was halfway through a chapter when I stopped. I got to the end of that chapter and I couldn't read any more. I'm so over it. I might DNF. I'm so sorry. I love Darcy Coates' book so far that I've read. But this one is shocking. But there's been a few sentences in this book that have rubbed me up the wrong way. A bit of fat phobia, and it's just interesting. So we follow a woman whose name I can't remember, as she and her partner go on a holiday to, I think they're trying to go to a cabin in the snowy woods. I think my first issue is the fact that the first chapter of this book, you open the book on, I think it's her falling off a cliff. God, it's been months, I don't know. Or like he falls off a cliff and one of them tries to save the other one. They basically get separated. And she then finds a group of people and there's like this storm and they're like, oh, he's dead. He's going to be dead. I'm sorry. Like, there's no way he's going to have made it through. She refuses to believe that. The issue is that I have personally, this is definitely a personal issue. If I am going to root for the characters to not be dead or to be reconciled, I need to know these characters. I need to care about these characters. There has been no development. We heard about one story, I think, so far, or maybe 2, that they've experienced, like 2 instances in the past where, like, two showings of them being a couple. That is not enough for me to care about them being reconciled. That is not enough for me to care if he dies. I obviously know by this point in the story what's happened to him. I know that, but I don't want to spoil anything for you. But let's just put it this way. I didn't care because why would I? I don't care what happens to our main character. Because I don't know her, so why would I care what happens to her? Maybe that makes me a problem, but it's definitely a personal issue. Like, I'm not saying everybody's going to have this problem. Yeah, it's definitely a me issue, but I need to know my characters, especially in a horror. Like, I need to care about what is happening to them to be able to, I don't know, just connect with the story. And so far, I don't connect with the story because I don't know the characters and I don't care about the characters. I see that they're going through hardship, but all these characters, every single character that we've seen, I cannot stand. So what good is that for me? The writing is not my favourite. It's not giving very much. It's kind of very blunt, and I don't know, I don't think it lends itself well to the genre when it's trying to describe atmosphere. I don't think it's going very well, which I know that Darcy Coates can write really good atmosphere because I have a lot of her books. I don't like this one. I think I'm convincing myself here to DNF it. I'm really upset about it because I wanted to love this. I had like no doubts in my head that I would love this. It's strange to me because a book that's very similar to this, not quite in its whodunit style, but more in like a snowstorm, people trying to survive a snowstorm, is The Drift by CJ Tudor, another author I really like. And both of those books, my main complaint with The Drift, which I gave a 4-star and would have given a 5, if it hadn't been for the fat phobia. And the fact that there's fat phobia in this as well is so strange to me. Like, these books are really similar, but with fat phobia. Like, I just don't understand why that's such a common thing in books. And obviously I'm a plus size girly, like it affects me to read these things. And I just don't believe that these people write these sentences and don't realise it's fat phobic. Granted, I did get an arc, so like realistically, if I'd read the book beforehand, I would have put that in my arc review and maybe they would have rethought it if enough people had said it. But again, I didn't read it in time because I don't like the book, and I think this is my decision to stop reading it. I used to be like a very savage DNFer, I would just DNF everything, but now I get a lot of like regret about DNFing, which is a shame. Like, it should be the opposite way. As for my next read, what's it called? I don't have my Kindle with me. Me and Lauren have just set up our own little book club. It's just me and Lauren, but it's okay, we love it. And we use a little spin the wheel to pick our genre, and then we pick a book within the genre. And yes, it is the 1st of September today, but our August book, which I want to read, is, I think it's like a vampire in the bookshop or something. I think it's a little smutty romance. I know nothing about it other than the fact I think it's a vampire in a bookshop. I love the cover. I'm so excited. Lauren's finished it. I don't know anything about what Lauren thinks. We did not say anything until I've read it. But I'm so excited to pick it up. So I think if I get time to read today, because I'm really busy today, so I don't think I will, but I will try and start it. But if not, tomorrow is Sunday and I have nothing to do. Well, I have not much to do, so I'll definitely be reading that tomorrow, and I will let you know how that goes. That was a long clip filled with updates. Please excuse the messy mop hair. I got out of the shower and haven't, just been letting it air dry and haven't done anything to it yet, so excuse this. I never really updated you on the last 2 books I read at the end of the week. I apparently just forgot I was vlogging. So I thought I'd come here, not only wrap up the vlog, but also tell you about the 2 books I've read since updating you. Shut Sharp Teeth by Rachel Harrison. I picked this up while I was reorganising my bookshelves because it was a shorter audiobook. So I was like, oh yeah, I can get through that. I thought this was a horror. I don't really understand why I thought it was a horror, but, well, because it says in the back, actually, it says in the back, horror. So I was kind of expecting a bit of a scary-ish book, or maybe not scary, but I don't know, anything that horror is, unsettling or anything, really. This is not horror. The only thing horror about this is that it includes the paranormal, it includes werewolves, but it's more like, Twilight werewolves than actual horror werewolves. When I say disappointed, I think there was no way for me not to be disappointed because I was brought into the story under false pretenses. But the book is fun. It's more of a romance / family fiction novel. Follow Rory, who lives in the city, and then suddenly her sister's husband leaves her when she's pregnant and having a baby. So Rory goes back to her hometown to live with her sister and, help her out while she's pregnant. And when she's there, she gets in an accident and is bitten by a werewolf and turns into a werewolf. I thought the story was fun. There was a little romance in it. It was fun. I really kind of the smallish town vibe I enjoyed. I think that Rory was an entertaining character. And yeah, it was all round a good time. I gave it 3 stars. There was some things to note that were a little weird. The main character in here vapes / smokes at different instances. Sometimes it's a cigarette and sometimes it's a vape. The amount of times this author said she goes outside to smoke her vape pen, or she puts her vape pen to her lips. I can't even tell you. I was waiting for something to happen, maybe the vape reacts with the werewolf or something, because of how many times it was mentioned. It was giving me the ick. I was like, not because she vapes, but the vape pen, ick. And like, I don't know, like the fact she just kept smoking and vaping all throughout this book, I was like, for the love of God, do we have to talk about this so often? But it had nothing to do with the story. It was really, really weird. You can definitely tell the author has a fascination with vapes and smoking. Like, it was such a weird thing to have in a book as regularly as it did. I wish I had the Kindle copy so that I could like search the word vape and cigarette, because oh my God, it was endless. Yeah, I don't really know if that's going to bother anyone else, but it might, because it really bothered me with how often it was said. I'm kind of like that with anything. If there's a lot of repeated words in my books, I get a bit annoyed. But like a vape pen, oh my God, cigarette? What the hell? The woman was obsessed with smoking. All she did was smoke. I enjoyed it. It was okay. I thought it was fairly entertaining. I'm not gonna lie that the story in just a few days has completely dissipated from my brain, but that's okay. Not all books have to like stick in your brain. But yeah, I gave it 3 stars. I did enjoy it. It's just not what I expected. Me and Lauren did a buddy read of A Vampire in the Bookshop. This is like a 150-page story. It's on Kindle Unlimited, and I knew it was going to be steamy, but I don't know what to say about this book. The first half is like a love letter to books and to literature. We follow this vampire who's been around for thousands of years, and I think it's 2,000 years, and he's got this massive book collection. He goes to the bookstore every night and he talks about like the smell of ink and leather and books. It was just so beautiful. Like the whole time it was just this beautiful ode to books, and I was like, nice. Then we got to like 50, 55, 60%, and I was like, oh my God, move on from the books. Then the steam starts. Basically, he meets this woman in the bookstore. They go to dinner, and then he invites her home to go see her library. She's got ulterior motives. It's very interesting. But let's just say they start doing it in the library, and because he's a vampire, there's a lot of blood involved. Like, if you are into blood, biting, and pain, I am not. If you're into that, you're going to love this. I just was cringing the entire time. Like, oh my God, that must so hurt. Oh my God. So for me, it wasn't for me. But also, the blood was going everywhere, and they're in a library filled with old, ancient books with this special binding that they spent the first 60% telling us about. And now you're doing it on the books with blood. The blood is going on the poor books. Like, I'm so scared about the books. Like, it never once says it goes in the books, but like, if the blood is going everywhere, it's obviously on the books. All I could think was like, you spent all of this book telling me about, oh my God, the importance of books and book binding and looking after books, and then you start doing that on said books. That's a crime. Crimes. So I couldn't enjoy it because the whole time all I could think was, oh my God, the books. The subject matter just wasn't for me. Obviously, I knew it was a vampire romance, there'd be blood and blood drinking, but like, I didn't expect it to be so far into that preference, I guess. 'Tis not my preference, so I didn't quite love it as much as I could. But I think more it was just the writing was a little off, the pacing was a little off, it just all round was a little bit off. So I did give it a 2 stars. I didn't love it. I kind of went from telling Lauren, oh yeah, it's okay, I mean, I don't really like it, but I don't dislike it, to, yeah, I dislike it. This isn't my favourite. So yeah, I'm glad that that is over and done with. I'm not gonna lie to you. I do want to show you some of the books that I picked up so we can finish off this little vlog with a haul. I went book shopping yesterday when I shouldn't have, truly shouldn't have, but I did, so sue me. And I also ordered a few books online that haven't arrived yet, so obviously. So there is more, but it's okay, I'll show you in a future haul. But I did buy quite a lot of books yesterday. I'm going to run through these quite rapid fire because we are at the end of the vlog. First of all, we have The Witches of Vardo by Anya Bergman. I've not heard of this, I've not heard anyone talk about it, but I did see it on Goodreads as quite a good rating when I looked it up. This one's in Sainsbury's for £6, and it was the last copy there, and I was like, that looks like my kind of thing, you know, witches. Okay, love it. I mean, not that I ever like my books that are about witches, because I always feel disappointed because I have such high hopes. But this one's set in Norway in 1662, and it's about women overthrowing the king. Slay. Then we have Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score, which is the sequel, I think, to Things We Never Got Over. Have I read Things We Never Got Over? No. I own it. Have I read it? No. So why did I buy a sequel? You tell me. You tell me. I don't know. but I did. I picked Once More with Feelings by Alyssa Sussman. I own... What was the first book? Funny you should ask. I've really wanted to read that since I saw everybody hyping it up, but I don't own it. I have it on... I think I bought it on my Kindle. I think. But considering my Kindle TBR is close to 1,000, it kind of gets lost, you know? But I don't think you have to read these in order. I don't even think they're like in the same series, because Goodreads doesn't have them in a series or companion series or anything like that, so I will try this. I don't know if I'm going to like it because it's about singers, which I hate, and it is second chance romance, but I'm going to try. Then we have The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels by India Holton. Now this says, Bridgerton meets Peaky Blinders. I've never seen Peaky Blinders, but I do know the vibes. I watch a lot of TikTok clips, and I love Bridgerton. So I was like, yeah, you know what, that sounds really, really fun. Jade really liked this. She said it was a good palette cleanser, which I always need more of, so I'm going to be picking this up at some point, probably after a really deep fantasy. The rest of these books are Anna Huang. I also have ordered King of Wrath, so when that comes, I'll also have King of Wrath. Don't know what went over me. I was in an Anna Huang fog. That's all I could see. So I picked up Twisted Hate and Twisted Lies. These were the only two books I needed in the series. However, the spines are different and they now have glossy words. So now I have to repurchase the first two, which is very disappointing. I really liked the first book. I thought the second book was good. So I'm really excited to continue on with this series, even if these are some big-ass romances. So yeah, I'm going to try these out. I quite like the series so far, so I thought it was safe to say I'd probably want to finish the series, even if I didn't like this one, so I bought both. Then I just couldn't resist picking up the entire series, If Love. That's the series, If Love. Interesting series name. I bought all four. I bought If We Ever Meet Again. Look at these covers. Wow. I can't even read that. If the Sun Never Sets, If Love Had a Price, and If We Were Perfect. These are the most beautiful covers I have ever seen, and I'm not gonna lie, it definitely contributed to me buying them. But what also contributed was I was reading like the taglines at the top, and number 4 says 2 exes, 1 house, what could go wrong? So I really want to read this one, so I picked up the whole series. That is my final update for the vlog and the book haul. I really hope that you enjoyed this week's vlog. Tune into next week's vlog to see a spinny wheel pick my reads for the week, which I think sounds gonna be really fun. So yeah, I shall see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!